the war campaign people were people who had never made comics and never had any involvement in comics in any way before in their entire lives, but they were listen and believe shills who did anything Ethan said. Um, they were fully believing in the whole narrative of how they were fighting the SJWs, but of course, as has been proven, and even they themselves eventually came out to admit, is that Ethan was paying them and that they primarily targeted other people in comicsgate, such as Doug TenNapel and Nurkish and so on. And they even tried with us, but the thing is that we fucking didn't even give a shit and we just laughed at them. They tried going after Tim and Mark, but then that blew up in War Campaign's face when Tim and Mark went on to, it completely eclipse most other creators in Comicsgate. And went on to massive success in spite of Comicsgate entirely. But yeah, the thing is that, yeah, there was a backroom deal where these War Campaign guys who just attacked other people in comics were getting deals where Dynamite was going to pay them to write comics. And I forget which one specifically. I forget if there's like a Red Sonja or Vampirella or some shit. And Dynamite also did that with others where they had that Star Wars girl. I'm pretty sure there was a payoff behind the scenes from probably The Blaze or something that's very deeply involved with a lot of this shit, very secretly behind the scenes in ways that none of them talk about or admit to. But there are a lot of connections that, again, nobody digs into. And we're not journalists, so when everyone's like, why don't you guys dig it? Because we're creators. That's all we do. We make
They're
comics.
certainly not succeeding on merit. And
Yeah.
nobody, this is one of the things that I noticed when it came to Common America, is that people, when they talk about Comicsgate, it's like, oh, it made so much money. Oh, they're going to own the libs, triggered the libs. When it came to Common America, it's like, this story is great. These characters are great. This is my favorite part of this. Look at this page. Look at this art. They're actually talking about the actual content
The
of
merit.
Common America to praise the content.
Yeah, they're actually admitting the merit of Common America, whereas when it comes to any comic in Comicsgate, they avoid the entire topic of merit entirely. Like out of fear, out of cold fear. Like the game, Cold Fear. I'm not doubting you, Gunther. But so yeah, War Campaign had a deal where Ethan Van Sciver's personal gay ops brigade that he was paying, not even under the table, but just in public, and he was promoting them. And again, they didn't do anything. They just made shit to attack and try to pester, essentially. Such pests. But they would try to pester other people who were either potential Comicsgate supporters who had accidentally pointed out that Ethan Van Sciver lied and contradicted himself, or just other people in Comicsgate that Ethan didn't like, that Ethan wanted gone. George Alexopoulos was another example. The War Campaign held a tribunal against him. And the thing is, George took that really seriously too, which is kind of gay, but it's like he, he treated it like, Ethan was essentially attacking him. And he was a complete simp for Ethan the whole time up until that happened. And it was just another example of, and the funny thing is, George doesn't talk about that when he should. But, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter too much. You could say a lot of things about George, but I'll just get back to the comment here from Jordan Tuner. War Campaign and various others were bought with promises of work or other considerations from Dynamite Comics given through Ethan. Eventually, though, Ethan gave all his Dynamite rewards to the circle of people around John Malin. War Campaign got mad, and then everything fell apart. That's a whole other story that's been covered by a lot of other people and that kind of stuff, too. The Star Wars girl chick was somewhat involved in that. Basically, that they were jealous that she was getting the same deal that they were, where Dynamite was showing them preferential treatment and showing her preferential treatment, and they're like, why is she getting it? And it's like, she deserves it as much as you, which is not at all, but, there's no reason to, don't bite the hand that feeds you when you don't even deserve it, when you don't deserve the food, you don't deserve the feeding. But they couldn't help it because that's just in their nature. It's just two scorpions stinging each other and going, "Lol, now you will drown. Lamau, no, you will." You can check out the rest of this video on our Subscribe Star, linked below.